I do not need any more collectibles. These shelves are just too full. I've got no room.
Built for collectors, rooted in brotherhood. Experience Emergence Day with the Gears of War, E-Day Collector's Edition. At the center is a striking collectible statue of Marcus and Dom capturing the bond forged on the day the world fell. Paired with authentic physical collectibles, including a replica of Carlos Santiago's cog tags, a lithograph, in-game photo, and a custom steelbook case designed by illustrator Luke Priest. The collector's edition honors the legacy, brotherhood, and sacrifice at the heart of Gears.
What? Hello and welcome back to this week's video. I wanted to talk a bit about Xbox and where we're at in 2026 with Xbox as a brand and as a gaming platform. And at the same time, I thought I would show you, as it felt appropriate as I was clearing down my vast volume of unshared pickups, that I would run through some of my Xbox 360 pickups as it was on theme. So in this video, I want to talk a bit about what Xbox are doing well and where I think they're going right, and also perhaps where there are still some concerns about some of the things that we're seeing coming out of the company at the moment. And I'll share with you a whole host of pickups, including a console variant that I've been after for a really long time. So let's start off with the good that Xbox are doing. Then I'll show you some pickups, and then we'll talk about some of the negatives. So first of all, if you haven't been following along, Asha Sharma has taken over as from Phil Spencer as head of Xbox. And by all accounts, the first few months have been really positive. She made some really great moves in re-establishing the brand. There was a change of logo, which might only feel like a small thing, but it gave people a new identity, perhaps a reason to get excited about Xbox again. They announced the 25th anniversary transparent console, which looks incredible. I will not be buying one because we'll talk about later on, console prices are insane at the moment, and I already have a Series X. But if you are into that thing and you are a diehard Xbox, that is a cool thing to own, and it's something that I'm really glad to see them doing. So I think that's a win. They've also taken on the chin the reaction to the massive Game Pass hikes of a few months ago, which if you haven't seen my video, I'll link it in somewhere on screen now. I did a video about this. I personally, along with many other people, cancelled my Xbox Game Pass subscription. I've been a subscriber since the 360, really early 360 subscriber to Xbox Live, and I cancelled my subscription. Now I will say, within about a month, I did go back onto the very most basic tier, just to be able to play online with some friends, but I haven't had Game Pass since, because they jacked the price up. And let me just double check my notes. It went to, I'll do it in dollars because it's easier to do the savings. It went from $20 a month to $30 a month, which for me was something in the region of about £16 or £17 to close to 25. Now, there's been a partial reversal of that underneath Asha Sharma's leadership. So they have taken it down, I think, from $30 to $22.99. So a $7 a month cut, which brings it back down to kind of closer to where it was. And the payoff is that they've removed the Call of Duty titles from day one access as part of that trade-off. Now, personally, I don't care about that because I do not play Call of Duty anymore. I stopped playing that on the 360, and even though I've bought versions of it since, I play them for about 2 or 3 hours and remember why I didn't buy them and play them anymore, and that game gets parked and it's money wasted, unfortunately. So I think that's a really good positive. Now, that is obviously in response to them losing, it was reported, millions of subscribers following that price hike in October 2025. Was it that long ago? Wow. So, you know, in terms of the good, we've got price reductions on Game Pass, which I still think is an excellent service, and the day and date stuff is really good. Like I said, Call of Duty is not my game, so I'm quite grateful to see that removed. I think the consoles are good, the branding is good, we're moving back to exclusivity. So Gears of War E-Day, which we'll talk about in a minute, is an exclusive, although Halo Campaign Evolved is not, but their argument for that was that they'd already promised it to the PlayStation audience. And then the other thing that I think is very positive, and this is definitely the first time that this looked like this for a few years now, is the actual gaming landscape. Because let's be honest, that's the most important thing here. is what games are there to play on these platforms. And you know, if you look at the last couple of months and what's to come in the next few, we've had Forza Horizon 6, which was very well received, although I think people are now getting a little tired of that formula, but apparently still a very good game. Tokyo sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm definitely looking to pick that up or play it at some point. We've got Gears of War E-Day, which I've mentioned, which is coming, I think, in October. Touch on that a bit more in a second. We've got Halo Campaign Evolved at the end of this month. We've got a new Fable to look forward to early next year, and a whole load of other games that weren't necessarily eye-catching to me, but I know got a lot of people excited about the future of Xbox. So there's a lot of stuff to like there, and a lot of things that are going right. On the Gears of War E-Day piece, as you'll have seen from the intro, they announced a special edition. Now, if you have followed me for long enough, you'll know that as well as my love of Metal Gear Solid over here, the other franchise that I love is Gears of War. And I have been into Gears of War since the very beginning. I've got standees in the room, I've got collectible figures, books, strategy guides, the games, the statues. So when I saw Gears of War E-Day had a $300 or near $300, £300 collector's edition, it was a lot of money, and I had to gulp, but I've pre-ordered it and I'm very excited about it. And I'll show you on screen the collector's statue that comes with it. I have no idea where I'm going to display it, but it looks badass. It looks to me to be akin to the size of the Spider-Man 2 collectible with Venom and the two Spider-Men. And it's dynamic, it's kind of an action statue, it looks really cool. I'm very excited to add that to the collection later this year, and I'm just really excited to play the new Gears game, to be honest. So that was a really big positive for me. Now, before we get into the kind of what's not going so well at Xbox and why I'm still a little bit concerned, let's talk about some nostalgia and some pickups. Now, I'm going to plough through some games here. There's quite a few. I won't dwell on all of them, and then we'll talk about the hardware as well. So a couple of pickups that I got through, one at Vinted and one at CEX, parts of bundles I've just picked up along the way. The first one, which was absent from my collection, was Spider-Man 3. I loved Spider-Man 2 back in the day. I don't remember Spider-Man 3 being quite as engaging as Spider-Man 2, but it was very much kind of in the mould of Spider-Man 2, which, to be honest, just transformed what a superhero game was for me on the PlayStation. As I said, I think by the time this came out on 360, and because of the movie's reception, I wasn't all that fussed, but I wanted to have that as part of my Spider-Man pickups. And then I got a gap in my Just Cause games, and this was a grand total of £1.50 from CEX, which is Just Cause 2. I just really enjoyed these games as kind of sandboxes. I remember putting so much time into the demo of Just Cause 1 back when you used to get demos on the Xbox 360. It was just a lot of fun to play, so I picked that one up as well. Now, I've got a whole stack of games here, which I'm going to run you through, but I first of all need to say a massive thank you, and sorry that it's taken so long to get these onto the channel. These were all gifted to me by a friend of mine, CBC Retro, over on Instagram. We met at the Nottingham Game Market a few months ago now, and you may remember that I picked up a second Yoshi popcorn bucket back when they were in the cinemas, and it was for him. And instead of paying cash, we actually swapped for games. So he gave me a whole stack of Xbox 360, and this is the wad that he gave me. So I thought I'd run you through them. I'll go with the sort of less important ones first. There's a stack of wrestling games here. If you know, you know that I'm into WWE. So we've got, we just sort them all out. We've got TNA Impact. You know, these are not high value games. I appreciate that, but you know, he was grateful enough to gift them to me. So TNA Impact. WWE 12 with good old Randy Orton on the front there. SmackDown vs Raw 2009 featuring ECW with Triple H and an older Shawn Michaels. And then WWE 2K14 with The Rock on the cover. And back in the day, this would have included DLC for the Warrior. I'm assuming that's not in there. But anyway, I'm not like going to be running out to play all of these. These are just to have in the collection. And that tops me up, I think, in terms of a number of the WWE games that I've got in this set. Perhaps more interesting though, then there was another set of games here that I just want to run through. So we have Ultra Street Fighter 4, which is a great game, and that will become more relevant in a minute. There is another wrestling game that I didn't sneak out the pile here. This one's a little bit different to the others, and that's Legends of WrestleMania. This one is one of those games that kind of supersizes and even more over the top as the wrestlers, but you've got legendary superstars. So on the back here, I can say Big Boss Man, Jake the Snake Roberts, Mr. Perfect, Warrior, Sergeant Slaughter, Undertaker, Legion of Doom, amongst others. And then I think you can wrestle against the current roster. So you've got Stone Cold's on there as well. Looks like Randy Orton, The Rock. So a kind of fun mashup of all your favourite wrestlers. Then I picked up from him, part of the set was Skate 2. Now, I'm never big on skateboarding games, but I did enjoy the skate games, and I recently bought Skate 3 to pick up and play. And then I was reading online a little bit that actually kind of the internet discourse is that Skate 3 isn't as good, and that perhaps Skate 2 was kind of peak skate. Let me know in the comments if that's your view as well, or if you feel otherwise. So I picked Skate 2 up when I saw that in the pile that he was looking to get rid of. Just a silly one here, Virtua Tennis 2009. Did you love the Virtua Tennis games back in the day? These are just fun to throw on and kind of reminisce about what gaming used to be like. This one does seem to have some fun mini games in. I think a lot of the Virtua Tennis games had that, but that's a cool one to pick up. Then there was a random game. I don't think I played this back in the day, but when I saw the title, I just thought this sounds like silly fun. And that is a game called Facebreaker. It reminded me heavily of Punch-Out. I don't know whether it's anywhere near as good as those games or even designed to be anything like it, but I just like the big kind of over-the-top characters. That looked like a fun one to play. I mentioned Just Cause 2 a moment ago. So, of course, we have to have Just Cause 1, which is a big one for me. And then probably the best in the stack, for me at least, is another Spider-Man game. This time, Spider-Man, Friend or Foe. We've got Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Venom on the front. And you won't believe who's on your side. It says, team up with Spider-Man's famous enemies or allies. Team up with friends in two-player co-op gaming. Defeat famous villains and turn them into allies. And enjoy funny twists on famous big screen moments. So that will be a fun one. I never played this back in the day. Again, the Spider-Man games went downhill sort of slowly, for me at least, once we got to the Xbox console generation, plus the PS2. And they didn't really recover until the PS4 games, which are of course incredible, but that's a fun one. Got two bits of hardware to show you in a moment, but before we get to that, let's return to the subject of Xbox, and let's talk about the maybe less impressive side, and that is around the rumours of studio closure and hardware price increases. So none of this is confirmed as I'm recording this, but by the time this actually makes it out onto my channel, maybe this will have changed for better or for worse. But the rumour in June was that Compulsion Games, Double Fine, makers of Psychonauts, and Ninja Theory, most surprisingly makers of Hellblade, all were reportedly in negotiations to spin off or face closure, and there's no official confirmation yet. Jason Schreier, who's kind of big in the gaming media kind of space when it comes to breaking news and kind of journalism in this sector, has described what's going to happen in the coming weeks and months as a bloodbath, which is pretty full on in terms of the choice of words. And I think it's such a shame. We've seen so many games studios close, not just at Xbox's hands, to be fair. PlayStation have got their fair share, but it does feel like a lot of these acquisitions that were gobbled up a few years ago have been mismanaged, and now many of these big firms are closing them or shuttering them. Now, whether that's because the gaming industry is struggling, whether these studios just weren't making money, had they had a bum game. If you look at Hellblade, for example, these rumours came out just after the Xbox showcase when they showed a new Senua game. So it's kind of insane that they're showing brand new games and then threatening closure. So the number, and again, none of this is confirmed, and let's hope that it maybe doesn't happen, is 1,000 Xbox layoffs are expected in July, which is rough. And now this is all part of Asha Sharma's reset memo, and she did say there were going to be some changes and there was going to be things that were going to happen that people wouldn't necessarily like, as well as all of the positive. But I do think that when you've got so much good going well, the stuff we mentioned earlier, so positive, price-friendly moves for gamers, games to look forward to, hardware to look forward to, it felt like Xbox were doing the right things, and maybe they were on the up again, and then they just seem to shoot themselves in the foot every time this happens. The other thing to think about is hardware. So I can't find the exact numbers. I had them somewhere, but I know the hardware for Xbox, certainly in the US, has gone up again. I think, but don't quote this, someone check these numbers. I'm pretty sure the Series S has had a price hike to somewhere in the region of $500, and the Series X has gone up similarly. Now, we obviously saw Steam machines prices this week, which were much bigger, I think, than most people expected. And we know that PlayStation have put their prices up recently. Xbox have done this multiple times before, and there's strong rumours that Switch 2 will as well. These are not necessarily moves that any individual gaming company is making by choice. This is all to do with AI and hardware shortages. So, you know, I get it, but I suppose at the same time as lowering your prices for your subscriptions and bringing out great games, your hardware costs are then going up, which is making buying an Xbox even more difficult. And you've got to be honest, if you go into market with the kind of money to buy an Xbox at the moment, you'd be hard pushed to spend money on the Series X that could go towards either a base PS5, and it would be cheaper, as it stands today at least, or, you know, you push the boat out slightly and you get a PS5 Pro with a much more extensive game library, to be honest, than an Xbox at this point. The exclusives, to date at least, are lacking. Maybe with what's coming in the next couple of months, you can hope to hook a few people back in with franchises like Gears. But it's a big ask for the Gears of War franchise to shift kind of consoles at the number that Xbox are going to need. So I just thought I'd mention that because, of course, they're doing a lot right, and I want them to be on the up. You know, Xbox is a franchise that I have a huge love for back in the 360 days when I switched from being a PlayStation diehard to a daily Xbox gamer. And then, of course, everything really has been on a slow slide in the wrong direction ever since that console with the Xbox One and then the Series X. There have been flickers and glimmers of light. Phil Spencer certainly made moves at early doors that looked positive, but unfortunately didn't really materialise. And now it's down to Asher Sharma even to kind of correct course. But I don't know. So, yeah, I guess I'm trying to weigh up in my head, are Xbox, are they back? Or is this kind of a little positive spike coupled with a negative shot in the foot that will have them back where they were just a few months ago? I don't know. I'm excited for the games, but the studio closure thing does make me quite sad because as an industry as a whole, gaming is getting incredibly expensive at the moment. Hardware is expensive, probably the worst because of what's going on with chip shortages. Games are getting more expensive, and it's becoming a luxury hobby now. It's not as accessible as it used to be. And yeah, I don't know, is there space for Xbox? There is even rumours at the moment, and I don't think it's necessarily going to happen, that Microsoft were contemplating selling off the Xbox brand. So where does that go then? Who buys it? Don't know. Anyway, I said I've got some hardware to show you as well as part of my 360 pickups to just round out this video. So the first one was this Hori arcade stick. It's a Tekken 6 variant. I really like this one. I'll try and put this kind of front and center and hope the camera focuses. It's a wireless fighting stick for the 360. I love the theming. Tekken is one of those games that I've always enjoyed. And yeah, I have already put this to the test on a couple of different fighting games, Street Fighter, Tekken, to name a couple, and a really cool addition. Did I need more Xbox 360 plastic? Probably not. If you've seen my video of about 12 months ago now, maybe more, I bought a ton of Xbox 360 steering wheels, peripherals, all sorts of good stuff for an Xbox 360 gaming day with my friends, and they're all in boxes in the loft. This one will probably go on display just because I like the cover image, but that was one of those that I thought must have that. And then is the console variant. Now, I've been after this for a while. I was a big fan of the 360 console variants back in the day, but never really could justify the cost of buying another console when I'd already got one. You may have seen recently, again, within the last year or so, that I added the Gears of War 3 Xbox 360 console to my collection. And the fun thing with that console is when you turn it on, it makes Gears noises, and when the CD tray opens, you get some Gear sound effects. And this other variant is similar, and it's the other one that I'd always wanted when I saw it back in the day. And that is the Star Wars Kinect Xbox 360 variant. So in this one, you get a white Kinect. Not that I care too much for that, but it's on brand. You get the R2-D2 Xbox 360 with R2-D2 noises. So when you turn it on and open the disc tray, it makes little R2 sounds. And then you get the C3PO gold controller. I'll just pop it out just quickly to show you. I'm not planning to set this one up at the moment. I might just keep it for display for the time being. although I had contemplated switching it into my media center because I thought it might look better than my Gears one. It's quite slick against the white. So that is the console. Again, in very good condition, this one. Doesn't look like it's been badly treated, although when I turned it on, there was about 1 million gamer profiles on it, so it needs to be wiped and kind of reset. But you can see the kind of R2-D2 theming on the front there. And then we've got, I'll just get the white connect out so you can see it. It is quite striking, I have to say. I might prefer to have the white connect on my worktop rather than the black one that I've got at the moment. Just I have it set up for the off chance I'll ever want to use it. But that's the white one. I think it looks quite smart. And then finally, tucked in the box, we've got a copy, essentially a copy of Star Wars Connect. I'm not going to be playing that. And the gold C3PO controller. Again, I'll try and get that to, there we go, to focus. You can see that looks pretty good. Condition wise, the controller's not quite as good as the console itself. Like a lot of these 360 controllers, I know people just bloody chewed these things or not, but there's a bit of damage on the left stick, and there's a little bit of scratching to the chrome effect on the D-pad. But otherwise, the actual gold and the controller itself look pretty good. So I could, I suppose, if I really wanted to, tear the controller down and swap in a better analog stick. That's an option, maybe in the future. But again, this is more for display purposes than play purposes, so it doesn't really fuss me too much. But yeah, so those are my Xbox 360 pickups. I am, like I said, super pleased with all of these additions. Quite a few that I've got to now bed into the wall behind me. I'm going to get to the point soon where I need more Billy bookshelves. Just can't bring myself to spend £10 on a shelf. I feel like the prices of the shelves at IKEA compared to the units is just a joke. But I'm going to have to do it. I think I'm going to need to go and pick up 2 or 3, I think, as the collection is expanding. But yeah, let me know what you thought of those pickups down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Xbox and where we're at. What's your view on the debate there? Are you excited for the new game releases? Are you tempted back to Game Pass? I might do. I am tempted to play Halo Combat Evolved. I think I'd said previously on videos that I was going to buy it on the PlayStation. I don't think I am. I think that with Forza, Halo, and then Fable next year, and a few of the other titles that have come to Xbox, I am tempted to go back to Game Pass. Realistically, if I bought Forza and Halo today, it's £100. I could get, what, 5 months, 6 months worth of Game Pass for that. So I'm thinking about it. I might go back to Game Pass. Not confirmed yet, or I might just buy the games outright when they're more affordable. Still not quite sure. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on those below. Like and subscribe, as always. It really helps the channel. We're still going for that 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year if we can get there. And as always, I owe a massive thank you to my Patreon subscribers, who you can see on screen now. I really appreciate their support and again, them getting involved in the community and the chat over on Patreon. If you haven't checked my Patreon out before, I have a free tier where you can watch Select, Start, Save, Repeat, which is our monthly gaming club wrap-up video that I do, where we play the games. We choose a game, we play it as a community, and then I talk about it or my experience of playing it. And if you're a paid Patreon member, you can even join me on that video and share your experiences of that particular game that month, as well as getting involved in suggesting titles for future months. And every penny that is pledged over there goes straight into the game collection. And when I amass enough of a Patreon kind of fees, I then take that money out and will buy something and call it out on the channel so that you know where your money has gone. So that's it for this video. As again, thank you for stopping by and watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Get involved in the comments and share your thoughts on all things Xbox. And have a fantastic week. And I'll see you in the next video.